right, here now is Trey Gowdy, former South Carolina congressman and House Oversight Committee chair, now a Fox News contributor. Trey, good to see you tonight. Thank you for being here.
Yes, ma'am.
So, as we pointed out, South Carolina on the presidential level has been red for decades, since 1976. But these candidates seem to think that maybe the dynamic, the demographic might be changing there in some way. Is there any reason to believe that?
No, ma'am. Jimmy Carter was the last Democrat to win South Carolina. I was 12. You probably weren't born. Tim Scott had hair. That was a long time ago. Since then, Bill Clinton won twice, didn't come close to winning South Carolina. President Obama won overwhelmingly the Electoral College. He didn't come within 10 points of winning in South Carolina. Statewide, we've had some really good candidates, guys that I like a lot personally. Steve Benjamin, the mayor of Columbia, Bakari Sellers, who's a commentator on another cable show. They both ran for statewide office, didn't come close in South Carolina. So I'm glad they were here. I hope they spent a lot of money. Republicans not going to win California, and the Democrats not going to win South Carolina.
Yeah, I remember in the last round, President Trump said that he thought he could win California and New York. That proved to be not possible that time around. Whether or not, that dynamic is also probably unlikely to change. But obviously their main reason for wanting to be there is they need to put in a very strong showing in South Carolina to be the viable Democratic presidential nominee. And it's interesting to look back at the Hillary Clinton president, then candidate Obama race. He was behind dramatically in South Carolina heading into the primary process, but then he won Iowa, he won New Hampshire, and he ended up winning South Carolina and then winning the nomination. Hillary Clinton did the same thing. It's a very important state to do well in for these folks.
It is, and Jim Clyburn is very popular among Democrats and very well respected. And of course, he has a fish fry, which the candidates attended, and there was a forum. It's important in the primary, just like it's important in the Republican primary. But I'd be willing to bet you, Martha, unless it's a non-traditional nominee on the Democrat side, they ain't coming back to South Carolina after they win the nomination. They just don't have a chance in 2020. The only way for a Democrat to win is if the Republican Party is fractured. That's how we lost our last statewide race. Jim Rex won superintendent of education because Republicans were fractured on the other side. They're not fractured behind President Trump. The opposition is solid, but his support is too. So it's not in play. I'm happy they're here. I actually hope the Democrat nominee will come. I hope Republican nominees will go to states that we're not going to win, because as it stands now, there are only 10 states that they need to bother to campaign in. All the rest of them are going to go red or blue. But this state ain't in doubt in 2020.
But let me just get, as a political observer of South Carolina politics, let me get your take on how it looks. When you look at the latest Real Clear Politics for these Democratic candidates, and they're going into a lot could change over the next 2 nights, because some people may drop out of this thing forever, and some people may really do well in these debates and prove themselves to be players. But Joe Biden's at 41% in South Carolina, Sanders at 13%, Elizabeth Warren at 12%, Buttigieg at 8.5%, Harris at 8%. Cory Booker, who's really trying to, sort of get into this race, is at 4.5% there. Why is Joe Biden so popular, do you think, with Democrats in South Carolina?
They know him. He actually, if memory serves me, eulogized Strom Thurmond. I think Lindsey Graham tells a hilarious story about Joe Biden. I mean, he got along with Fitz Hollings. He's popular. I think Democrats in South Carolina are smart enough to factor in electability, and they think that he may be more electable than some of the other names you called. But he's a familiar face. He's been to the state a lot, whereas the mayor and some of the others, this may be their first visit. I don't see anybody catching Joe Biden, but a traditional Democrat nominee is not going to win in South Carolina. It would require a non-traditional nominee, someone like Tulsi Gabbard, who is non-traditional, but I don't think a non-traditional nominee is going to be their nominee. So that's the dilemma they have.
All right.
Biden, people know him. He's been around a long time. He eulogized Strom Thurmond. I think he's going to probably win South Carolina on their side, but I'm not an expert on Democrat politics.
We'll have to, next time you'll have to tell us Lindsey Graham's funny story. We'll stick around for that. Trey Gowdy, thank you very much.
It's NC-17. I can't do it on television.
Okay. Maybe offline. Thank you, sir. Good to see you tonight.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.